Welcome to From the Desk of the Mayor. Hello, Newport, and thank you, NEK-TV, for bringing these updates to the people of Newport. Last night, we had our regular council meeting, and we were there working for you for a very long time. The meeting started at 6 and ended at almost 11 o'clock. And I want to thank our council members, our city manager, and our treasurer, and all of the residents who showed up for staying and for listening and for abiding by the procedures so that we were able to get so much city business done. That's what these council meetings are about, getting city business done. We had not only our standard items addressed, which is simply, accounts payable warrants, liquor licenses, and our minutes approval, but we had a lovely presentation by the Northeast Kingdom Rainbow Coalition. And they told us about their upcoming parade. And so please watch for that information and show up to support them. We also had a presentation or clarification on some documents that needed approval by Newport City Downtown Development, so we can continue on with grants that were promised and make sure that we get everything we can for Newport. There was a discussion about the potential for a dog park over by Gardner Park, and our DPW head is looking into that, and we'll get back to the council with information and due diligence and what might be needed to see whether or not we can actually have a dog park. Then we have some great updates from our police chief, Chief Travis Bingham. He has advised that he actually did a bike to school event that he coordinated with the Newport City School, and it took them from Parmelo Park and they rode to the city school, and he actually rode his bike with the kids, and he said it was fun. Well, why wouldn't it be fun? It's healthy and a lot of fun, and thank you to our chief for getting out there. We also had our police chief attend an Emergent 3 training that was hosted by the supervisory union. And the chief has said that this is a platform that they will be utilizing in an emergency situation. So it affects accountability, emergency drills, and a great resource for first responders. The chief has really been busy. There was a high school prom over the weekend, and 2 officers were detailed for that event. The police has advised that it's been very busy due to the warm weather, and they are out there. Our police department is out there taking care of Newport. Our interim fire chief, Kevin Lacoste. First of all, I want to give a great shout out for our interim fire chief. He has been in there for almost 8 months, I'd say now, and doing such a fantastic job, never, ever, ever leaving the city of Newport without a leader in the fire department. So our interim chief participated at the NCUHS Safety Awareness Fair and Expo, which was held on May 9th. They actually set up a booth, and they discussed firefighting duties, training, and activities. They had tools and fire gear available, and they had questions, and they did hands-on demonstrations. That is absolutely extraordinary. And once again, thank you, thank you, thank you to our interim city fire chief. Also, we had our director, Thomas Bernier of Public Works, who has made an announcement that the city, he has told the council that the city will actually be initiating an entire water system inspection of every water service line within our system. The city there will be a mailing of water and sewer bills, and there will be a public notice attached to that mailing. So please pay attention, because the city needs to gather required lead and copper information based on the rule. And we want to help our public works department by actually paying attention to the notice, and so that the water line self-assessments and emails needed to be brought back to our department head can actually happen. This is for your safety, so please, I ask you again, pay attention to that water bill that's coming out. The director, Thomas Bernier, has also announced that the Gardner Park playground has actually been fenced off and the remaining playground equipment has been removed. There was a remediation that began on May 16th, and there was a contract that was put in place for the remediation that was authorized by the council and signed by the mayor. And the director has told us that a concrete pad will be poured to relocate the picnic shelter that's within the playground area. There's a municipal building parklet electronic kiosk, which we know about. It's a beam structure. It has already been installed. We're waiting for the kiosk to actually be delivered. It's anticipated that it will be the week of the 20th. And Council Member Rick Ufford Chase, who's also responsible for getting this kiosk with his team in place, and me as the mayor are looking forward to doing this grand opening of the kiosk. There's so many things that are going on, and I want to thank all of our employees at the city, and again, our treasurer for helping the mayor look through all of the finances, as the mayor's charged with the finances of the city, and the treasurer, of course, in his role is charged with the finances of the city, and we're working together to make sure that all of the accounting is appropriate, and we are looking to see if anything needs to be adjusted. It is a task that requires us getting compliant with federal and state laws and the city policies, and we are working to do this. And every time we find something that needs to be disclosed, we are bringing it out for questions. The council is being brought up to date, and we are making sure that everything in the city becomes compliant so that it can run efficiently and there can be, hopefully, less money taxed to the taxpayers. I want to say that the meeting last night resulted in also quick appointments. Our interim city fire chief, Kevin Lacoste, who will now take his new appointment, which puts him back into his former position of the second engineer chief. And I applaud that he will still be here with us doing the job that he so loves. We have appointed our city manager as the interim fire chief, stepping into the role that Mr. Lacoste has formerly had, and we will continue to talk about that. Okay, so here we have it. I just announced that our interim fire chief has taken the former position that he held and loved so much as the second assistant engineer chief. And I just announced that our new interim fire chief is our city manager. I did not even get into his qualifications yet, and miraculously, here he is.
Thanks, Linda.
Anytime I can embarrass you on the air.
Good to be here again today.
Yeah, so I'm very excited that the department is now going to be just full of experts. And so can you kind of refresh our residents with your background?
Sure.
Because it's really important that they understand how well thought out this was.
Sure. So I started my fire service background in 2014 with the City of Winooski Fire Department. And I had been there for 7 years before my wife Lindsay and I bought a house in Fairfax, and I had spent 3 years there. In both departments, I had finished as a lieutenant before moving here to Newport City. Also, for the past 5 years, I have been teaching for the Vermont Fire Academy, traveling all across the state into Pittsford, where the Vermont Fire Academy is based out of, providing training to firefighters all across Vermont. in various types of classes, from generic firefighting to vehicle extrication, rope rescue, ice water rescue, and different types of disciplines like that. So again, been in the fire service roughly 10 years now, and just look forward to, Newport has great equipment. We have a great membership, and just looking forward to joining the ranks of the officers and having that conversation of how we can move the department forward.
And you did all this while you were the town administrator over at Fairfield. And you were able to handle both of these positions, and that is amazing. I was 20 years old once and able to do all that stuff. But no, really, thank you. So, and you've also been involved with our fire department here as well. So could you kind of give us a little bit of that? I know you did
Sure.
the equipment.
Yeah. So I've been now with Newport City for about 7 weeks. I'd been in the city roughly about a week before, needing to get back into it, right? It's definitely a passion, something that, I had done not in a full-time capacity right before, but it was just something that I love to do. Giving back to the community in this role has just been a phenomenal experience in my life. And yeah, it's really great.
And the big news, you bought a house.
We did. So my wife, Lindsay, and I closed on our house in Newport City this past Wednesday. We're located at Cherry Lane behind the hospital, so we're right on Lake Memphremagog. I know. And then we spent this past weekend moving and unpacking boxes. My wife is going to be working from home. She's a senior accountant at Hickok and Boardman in Burlington. And I think due to the pandemic is going to keep her job in Burlington and work remotely from Newport, which is
Even better.
Even better. And I couldn't have made this move to Newport without the support of my wife and the fact that she gets to keep her job and live in our beautiful home at the same time is pretty incredible.
Well, we're excited to have you here. I really am. I'm excited to have both of you here. I know everybody's excited. We're excited that you're the city manager, and 7 weeks, eh?
Yeah, 7 weeks on the department, eight weeks into the city manager role, so roughly 2 months.
All right, so enough of this playing around, man. Now
Right?
you got to get serious. No, and you've been doing a fantastic job, and I love working with you. I really do, and I know the council does as well. And I was just explaining that we had a very short meeting last night that only lasted about 5 hours. But we did a lot of good work.
It's a lot of great work.
I started to say that there was an initial discussion about a dog park. Maybe you want to kind of give us a better update than me. That
Sure.
just said,
So Tom Bernier, our Director of Public Works, approached me about a week and a half ago with kind of a new idea to Newport, or at least since I have been here. And that is kind of the creation of a dog park, something that we don't currently have. And this idea came to Tom, and I believe his wife as well kind of brought this idea forward, was as they're taking down the fence from Gardner Park to do the soil remediation project, he was thinking about what he could do to reuse and repurpose that fence. And so he had thought, well, he has dogs and brings them on the Newport bike path and into the Bluff Farm, but not a place that you can really let them go off leash in a contained area that's safe for both the dogs and the visitors. So he kind of figured out where in the city we may have some land available, which the conceptual ideas that was presented to the council last night sits kind of behind the grandstand in roughly a little over a quarter acre piece of land. So the council gave a preliminary nod to have myself and Tom and Mike Brown, the director of our Parks and Rec, explore the idea further, and what does permitting look like, what is liability, how do we do the design. We heard kind of a double gate so that dogs can't get out accidentally. So it was I think a really great conversation. To kind of a start of Newport's first dog park.
yeah, no, I think it's exciting. I think that, we have total faith that you'll do all the due diligence and bring it back, and hopefully it will happen.
It's really
As
exciting.
somebody who has 4 dogs.
And I have one myself, and it's, we used to bring her to the Star Farm Dog Park in Burlington, and that was a big dog park. Nothing that I think we could do, at least in this particular area, but it's great. Dogs only like to be on a leash so much, and to be able to let them go and play with other dogs, I think is benefit to that.
Yeah, the whole socialization is ideal.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking forward to the update on this. Are you comfortable talking a little bit about the sailing lease that we put together?
Sure.
That would be great.
So at the, not last night's council meeting, but the one prior, we had a memo from our Director of Parks and Rec, Michael Brown, about a potential partnership with a new community sailing center based out of Newport. This sailing center had basically asked the community to partner for the first initial year. And so we put together an arrangement that would basically give them a 50% discount for the commercial rates, but then they would give us 10% of their net proceeds back to the city. And we just thought it was a great way to partner with them to get this kind of new organization off the ground. They're going to be operating out of Gardner Park and the Gateway City Dock facility. We'll also be using these boats that this organization is going to offer are open to the public. There is a small fee, which we're kind of still determining what that will be, and it'll be incorporated into day camp. So the programs that Newport City offers through the summer, we'll have sailing lessons, and the kids will also get to utilize the equipment in the boats. And
that's exciting.
It is. So I think it's a great partnership that we're exploring. To bring in, I think, things that weren't done here in Newport, that we can start to bring new ideas and really get that juice flowing. So.
Well, that's the key, is all these great new ideas that are coming and being heard and presented at the council meetings, and then we've been having some great discussions. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the council has completely opened up, and, with you there and myself able to engage these discussions, the residents get to hear more, and they're more familiar with the thought process of what's going on, and then they can become engaged. And speaking of getting engaged, if you would like to be on any boards or commissions, please just email the city manager or myself with a letter of interest, and we'll take it from there. We always invite the public to tell us what you're interested in and jump on in. And if you have ideas that you might want to volunteer, reach out to the city manager and we can direct you wherever that might be. So we want you to participate. And once again, come to our council meetings and to the mayor hours. So my main thing right now is, this is a big question. Will there be sunfish? Those boats with the
They
gills?
will have some smaller, I believe, sunfish type boats. So I believe I heard that some kayaks, one canoe, there'll be paddle boards, and those smaller boats will be at the Gardner Park docks. Uh-huh. The larger boats, so I think a sunfish and some even larger ones will be at the Gateway facility. So yes.
So my first experience on a sunfish, was out on Fire Island, where I thought, this is really cool. This gentleman has asked me if I wanted to go sailing, and I thought, oh, look at this, right? And I'm like, what's this? And I pulled the kiln out, and we went in the water, and I'm like, I'm not dating this guy. So the key is, somebody will be there to show everybody what not to pull out of a boat.
Yes. No, there'll be lessons that go along with it. So understanding the different parts and pieces to a boat, how the different pulleys and ropes work and sails. And
so fun.
Yes.
Yeah, so fun. Safety is amazing. So I know that we have signed the letter of engagement for our auditors. So we had appointed our auditors back in March, I think it was, and we signed the engagement letter, so our audit will definitely take place. And so once again, I think we've got so much good stuff going on. I did talk about the police chief and what you told us he had been doing, because I think that's important. Do you want to give us a little bit more information about the safety awareness event
Sure.
Yeah, that would be great.
So the high school, in partnership with Umbrella and a few other organizations, put together their first annual safety fair and expo at the high school. It was very well attended by lots of different vendors. I participated as a member of the Newport City Fire Department, and we had a table set up. I think the challenge that we faced is that the event was on the same day as a track meet and softball game, so it was just, the high school facility was inundated with people, and so I don't necessarily think the people we were getting in the safety event was who they were originally targeting.
Okay.
But I think overall, at least for the vendor side of it, I mean, every table had people there, and the whole gym was full of vendors. So I thought the participation was key. It just, again, the first, one, work out the bugs, but I thought it was phenomenal. They had presentations from Lila Bennett from Journey to Recovery and some other organizations. Umbrella was one of them about gun safety and violence, and so I thought it was great topics that we're presenting and sharing with our community. They provided free dinner for those in attendance. So
nice.
I thought it was the target was right on in terms of what they were trying to do. I just think, again, planning maybe some more advertising to get more members of the public in to see.
But it was a start.
And I think it was the amount of vendors that showed up shows that they care and that they're passionate. So I think you can only make it better, especially that it was only the first year that they've done this. You can only go up. So
I mentioned earlier, before you miraculously appeared, that the Rainbow Coalition came into the presentation and identified that they're having their parade. There are some other events going on. How do we have our Newport residents find out about events?
Yeah, so I think there's, the rec program, they have a great calendar. I think our electronic bulletin board in front of Gardner Park is a great way that we share events and the happenings through the city. Council meetings typically are announced, right, of all the different events. So I think that's probably initially, we are having conversations amongst leadership staff on how do we communicate with residents, right? Both kind of in the public for event purposes, but also water main breaks or, different types of events. How do we communicate that with the public? And, I think some things on an emergency basis, maybe VT Alert, or I know Winooski used a program called Nixle, that you would sign up via text message, and if there was a fire, you'd get an alert that says, please avoid this area. And then once the incident was over, the roadway's open now. So that's kind of emergency, pushes to people, but the other piece of it is that public, and how do we get, the parade coming up on Monday, right? Yeah. How do people know about that? How do people know about, the Northeast Coalition, the Pride Coalition and their parade coming up in June, and all these events, right? And we want people to participate. And so I don't know if there's a great answer, but we are having those conversations.
And the website, I guess we're going to be focusing on updating our website. That's important.
Yeah, so that came up at staff meeting as well on, I think just we have an outdated website. I guess the biggest thing I will say about a website is there's constant maintenance, right? Positions on staff change. We have agendas and minutes that are constantly changing that we're updating. So I think eventually an overhaul and do the whole website over again.
Agreed.
The challenge to that is then future maintenance, right? Of which staff member is going to be responsible for that website and making sure that it's updated and accurate information. But I think it's
a discussion.
It's a discussion. I think you're seeing some communities, South Burlington, Fairfax, just two examples that did a complete overhaul. And just the flow is so much better, and the visual aesthetics, right? Of you want to be proud of your website, and I think right now ours could use some more.
Right, ours is pretty much just a document storage.
I would agree.
Center, and we need to make it more user friendly and more visually appealing.
Absolutely.
and let the people know. They want the calendar. They want to know the events, and then they can drill down to documents as opposed to just this is posted, this
Correct.
is posted. And so, but that happens in time.
Over
and I
time.
think as long as it's part of the discussion, we're good. Is there anything else you want to tell?
I'll just put a plug out for the Memorial Day Parade this coming Monday at 10 a.m. Lineup is at the municipal building that goes to Gardner Park for a ceremony there afterwards. So we invite the public to please come out and join us and support all of the apparatus and items in the parade, and come down to Gardner Park for the ceremony following.
Awesome. So I want to thank everybody for always tuning in, because this is how we keep you updated. Come to the mayor hours. You know, those are Mondays from 9 to 11 and Wednesdays by appointment from 9 to 11. And thank you, because the appointments have been working tremendously. I know I'm overwhelmed with appointments, but if I need to, I will shift some times around. I am trying to get everybody in as prioritized, but the Monday to Wednesday is where everybody could just come in and walk in. The appointments are for those who specifically need to speak to the mayor about possible business issues that need to be more personalized at this point in time. But we thank you so much, and thank you again, NEK-TV, for doing this. Thank you, Jonathan, for
Absolutely.
being our great leader, and we will see you next week.